So hours after the David Reagan story was announced that he would be racing in the Daytona 500 for Rick Ware Racing with an alliance with Front Row Motorsports, we got some silly season news that no one else really thought was coming. Justin Haley and Kaulig Racing will be attempting their first Daytona 500 together. What's going on, guys? Marty here. Hope you all are doing well. No, this is not a 5 minutes with Marty special edition. I'll kick that off in February. However, though, we did get some big news in silly season for the Daytona 500 alone, and that is Justin Haley, Kaulig Racing attempting their first Daytona 500 together. I did a story about this yesterday that was published on Beyond the Flag, the fan-sided site, so check out the link below in the description. It would be great for me to get a lot of views on that, hopefully. So yeah, I'm going to dive deep down into this Justin Haley silly season situation, talk about maybe specific outcomes we could see here in the Daytona 500 for him. So as we know, this is going to be Haley's first Cup race since his Daytona win in the summer last season on the rain delay, or the lightning delay I should say, going from 27th to the third position, and then the front row coming in to pit, then Haley in the lead. This is also Kaulig's first ever start in Cup Series competition, so I'll talk about to see if they maybe can have some success with that, or if it's going to be a failure debut. And also, this is a non-chartered ride, so this could put the entry list at up to 42 cars. It could still be 41. Not sure if the David Reagan car, if it's that third full-time Rick Ware Racing car before he gets switched the numbers with the help from Front Row Motorsports, or if this is just going to be a fourth part-time car with Rick Ware and Front Row combining together. So let's break down Haley's first Cup race since Daytona, the Daytona win. What could we see out of this? Well, you know, he's got the advantage of being the last Cup driver at Daytona. Sure, it was lucky, but but the question is going to be, can he prove as a racer towards the front of the field? He did have success in the Xfinity and the Truck Series at Daytona before. You look back at his Xfinity Series, finished second in the Coca-Cola Firecracker 250 back in July. Almost won the thing in 2018, but got called for passing below the double yellow line. That was back when he was with GMS Racing. And however, though, he did not really show success this past February when he was racing in the Xfinity Series, finished outside of the top 10. But the Kaulig Racing team, though, did show some early efforts, because if I recall correctly, they finished 1 and 2 in stage 1 with Ross Chastain picking up the win and Haley finishing second in that. And also, if you look back at his truck appearances in Daytona, he did finish second in the Next Air Energy Resources 250 in 2018. But another question I'm kind of wondering is, when we come to driver introductions and he gets introduced to the crowd, could he get booed? It was great. Yes, it was great publicity though for Haley and the Unknown 77 team at the time. However, this was a criticized win. If you guys remember, Nick Bromberg of Yahoo Sports, he called it a black eye for the sport. The race was about to go back to green, then lightning struck, Kurt Busch and Landon Castle came in. They're your top two at the time after the big one, and they were hoping something would happen, like lightning would strike within the radius that NASCAR would have to put on the lightning clock, but it did not. Now, if you look at Kaulig with their first ever Cup start, they do have kind of an advantage with this. Remember, they've got the Richard Childress Racing Alliance in Xfinity Series that they can use in Cup. They got numerous teams they can work with that have the RCR Alliance besides RCR themselves. They got Richard Petty Motorsports with Bubba Wallace, Germain Racing with Ty Dillon, Starcom Racing with Quinn Huff, Beard Motorsports with Brendan Gaughan. I'll talk about him in a moment. And then you got Premium Motorsports with Brennan Poole. Kaulig, they've shown success in Daytona before. However, though, it is their first test in Cup. Let's look at their previous results, though. In the Xfinity Series at Daytona, they got one win with Ross Chastain last season. 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. They've won 143 laps there. I think most of it does include that 2019 July race. They start well, averaging 7.1, but that's based off time trials. Most likely they'll have to qualify for a spot through the duels. It doesn't seem likely that they'll get a front row position for the Daytona 500. I kind of look at this back to, JTG Doherty Racing, when they started racing full-time in the Cup Series back in 2009. They finished 17th in their first Daytona 500. However, though, besides, that kind of alliance they have with Michael Waltrip Racing, they did have prior experience in 2008 in the Cup Series. They raced a few races with Marcos Ambrose behind the wheel. Their first race, Indianapolis 2008, finishing in the 22nd spot. And then they could remain a back marker like Haley was for most of the Coke Zero Sugar 400. The 77 team in 2019, once again, 27th before that big one happened, with about 30 laps to go or something like that. If that doesn't happen, though, most likely Haley does not win this race. But, we have seen small teams before get their name out there racing for a win. Let's look back to the Talladega race back in October. After the big one that took place with like 7 laps to go, battling for a win, Parker Klickerman, Corey LaJoie, Michael McDowell, and then in the Coke Zero Sugar 400, Matt DiBenedetto, when he was with Go Fast Racing, missing all of those wrecks, including the big one early on in the race, finishing 7th in that outing. And then you can look at as well the fact that Kaulig Racing is a non-chartered team, which means they'll have to race their way into the Daytona 500. We know of the 36 full-time entries this season in the NASCAR Cup Series. But with Kaulig Racing, they're going to need to do some work if they want to make it into their first Daytona 500. They could maybe work with Brendan Gaughan to get into the Daytona 500. He knows how to race at super speedways and can take these small teams for the front. So we saw with Beard Motorsports, obviously. He was leading lane in the 1000 Bulbs 500 back at Talladega. He was running in, I think it was at the 2nd or the 4th position near the end of the Daytona 500 back in 2018 before getting caught up in that wreck with 2 to go. Both affiliated with Richard Childress Racing, and they can try and race their way in and work together. But their main competition, in my opinion, is going to have to be MBM Motorsports, Carl Long's team. They got 2 cars that they're trying to put into the Daytona 500. You got Timmy Hill in the 66, and just announced earlier today through Bob Pockris responding to a fan's tweet. It may have been yesterday. I'm not too sure about that, though. But Chad Fincha will be making his Daytona 500 debut as well. However, though, if this does not work out well, if MBM Motorsports outlasts them, they're in danger of not making the show. Because another example I could look back to is, you guys remember RIB Racing in 2012? They had the 09 team. Kenny Wallace was behind the wheel. Full time in 2011. Had 11 top 10s, finished inside the top 10 in points that season. Then they went for their first Cup race, which was the 2012 500, but they missed the race and waited a few years before, I think 2015 was. So those are what I see about Justin Haley, all the outcomes I think that could happen to him. If you guys want to read more about the story on Haley, Make, and Kaulig attempting their first Daytona 500, go to my link in the description on Beyond the Flag. I love your support and love all the views I get. I got a big story coming out Monday with them, future story I should say, about NASCAR's history and the Chili Bowl, because that's taking place next week. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. See you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.